Actually, 2 years ago, we promised Adele that if she make it for this Olympic rifle 10 meters, we will actually go with her in Japan. But too bad, due to this pandemic, we are not able to do so. I'm a little bit disappointed, but no choice due to this current situation. We want everybody to keep safe, so we are not able to be there.
The Prime Minister has extended a COVID-19 state of emergency for Tokyo and 8 other prefectures until the 20th of June.
COVID-19 cases are rising and spreading.
Tokyo's 2020 chief
says that the Games simply cannot be postponed again.
Happy birthday!
My name is Kira. I just turned 21.
It's actually our second cake for today, so we're gonna have to do extra training.
I'm a fencer. So there are 3 disciplines in fencing: force, table, and épée. And me personally, I'm doing épée. Our target area is a bit different from the rest. So we can hit the whole body from the toes to the head.
The point of fencing is to stick the other person with the pointy end first. So mostly we've been working on her physicality, her power generation, her acceleration and the like. Right now we are getting her to fence the format that she will be doing in the Olympic Games.
In the Olympics, it's first to 15 points, or 3 rounds of 3 minutes, so whichever comes first. Leading up to the Games, actually my coach and I, we were thinking of going for training camps overseas. But with the COVID that happened last year, it was really disruptive.
When you are talking about pinnacle competition like the Olympic Games, you need to be fencing some of the best fencers in the world from Europe as well as North Asia. So the inability to travel has limited our options for sparring. That said, what we've done is to tap into the community in Singapore to get as many sparring partners locally as we can. And she spars a lot with the guys as well in the national squad, and we do what we can.
It's the first day of the training camp, so we're still slowly easing into the training. We're trying to have as much fun as we can in training.
We spend quite a lot of time here training, so it's usually shuttling from home to training area and then back again to rest and then back again to training area. So I'm sure if you talk to Kiri, you'll hear from her about how she pretty much just does that all day.
Today, Singapore Association organised this competition. It's allowing me to practice the kind of mental strategies that I should adopt when I'm at the Games itself. My name is Adele. I'm 22 this year and I'll be representing Singapore at the Tokyo Olympic Games, and I'm playing the 10-meter air rifle. In the past, when we are preparing for a major competition, we could fly to maybe Europe or other countries to train. So if we can't travel, what else can we do? So we are coming up with new solutions.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our athletes.
Which is why the association organized competitions such as the OG League, which happened today. So they purposely induce stress, induce pressure for me to get used to the very high level of pressure in Japan. So qualification, each athlete has to shoot 60 shots. The highest score that an air rifle can achieve is a bullseye. It's a 10.9. The highest score that the qualification points can go up to is 654 points. The top 8 athletes will make it to the finals, and then it is based on an elimination system.
After the 20th shot, we have our next decision to say goodbye to adult time of 4 ranking finalists in the field of 400.
你不然的话，你这比训练根本就没有用，谁给你说什么都没有用。这个决心必须有，这个胆量必须得有，要你练什么。
Usually when I have to speak to my coach is when he has to remind me of something. For today, it was a mental portion because I was just taking a little bit too long. So yes, there were blunders today, but I'm sure that with more practice, I will get better and I'll improve.
奥运会准备，我们大概还剩了20来天的时间了。这20来天，我觉得最大的一个、最重要的一个问题，我觉得是一个稳定的问题。稳定就是我现在就是需要他的心理状态要稳定。因为奥运会比赛越来越近了，他的整个运动员的心理会有一些波动，这时候会有一些波动，不光是心理上会有一些波动，技术上可能会有一些波动，我们在做一些小的调整。但是我觉得最重要的是有一个稳定，有一个信心，让他给他一个自信，相信自己。
I'm aware of the pandemic situation in Tokyo, but my coach is the one that's monitoring and then updating me. He kind of filters whatever he wants to tell me because sometimes it may subconsciously affect an athlete's well-being. Everyone tells me to just focus on what I have to do.
Every Olympics is different and unique, but I have to admit that this one will be the most unique of all. In normal times, being an athlete is stressful. And now add on the pandemic, it becomes extra stressful. And that's why we have our sports psychologists to help our athletes manage the additional stress.
Japan's top medical experts have warned that holding the Tokyo Games could increase coronavirus infections. And they say banning all spectators is the least risky option.
To be totally honest, I guess I had no desire to travel with all the risks that entails during the COVID-19 pandemic. But obviously, the opportunity is so great to compete at the Olympics. I'm Caroline Chu, and I've just qualified for the sport of dressage at the Tokyo Olympic Games. So this is Tribbiani. I call him Joey. And the reason why I call him Joey is because, like Joey Tribbiani from Friends, he doesn't like sharing food. Around 3 weeks ago, I just thought I'd be following the Olympics from home as a fan. And then suddenly, the New Zealand candidates withdrew from the Olympic Games because of the COVID pandemic. And there was a free slot for the region. And that was completely unexpected. I think it took me a while to realize that that could eventuate into an opportunity for me. The candidates for this free Olympic slot, we all converged in a competition in Le Mans in France.
And then just start to ask him a bit more back on the hind leg again. So he's lightening the front.
My coach at that point had not had his second vaccination, so there was no way he could come with me. Trying to qualify for the Olympic Games and then not having a coach was like quite daunting. Dressage, it's a bit like ballet with horses. How you score points in dressage are based on a number of things. First of all, it's the harmony between horse and rider. How obedient the horse is to the rider's commands. And then you've got the artistic element, which is how well you're executing it, how much expression you can draw out of a horse. So in order to get the slot, I knew going into my competition that I needed a minimum score. of 66%. When we came out of the competition, the pressure had been so immense that I don't think I had a clear perception of how I'd done.
We FaceTimed straight away after the test, and I looked at the test and I thought that was probably the best test that she's done.
And then the scores come on a live stream on the internet because it was sort of, I don't know, 69.5%, I can't even remember now. I've never scored that high before.
Yeah, I was speechless. Yeah, and it's not very often that I'm speechless. And then all of a sudden I just ran around, jumping up and down, screaming, very, like a child really.
It'd been such a whirlwind of emotions. I couldn't believe that we'd actually done it.
I'm pleased with that.
Okay, awesome. So now that we've qualified for the games, the pressure now moves to all the administrative side of getting to Tokyo. He has no clue he's going to Tokyo. He probably doesn't really mind where he goes, as long as he gets treats. I wasn't expecting to do a sort of international journey at all this year because of the COVID pandemic. Thankfully, we're all vaccinated on the team.
I completed my vaccination in April. It does make me feel a bit safer knowing that other athletes as well are vaccinated, especially going to the Olympics.
Oh, I got vaccinated in February with the rest of the Olympic squad shooters. And in order to train without the mask, we have to get swabbed weekly. And the first few times it was quite painful for me, I'm not gonna lie.
Our noses collectively have had to suffer just to make sure that we have a safe bubble to train in.
The swab test is not something that is very comfortable. And looking at the bigger picture, I think it's a very small price to pay just to train with other people.
I like to cook, so I cook with my sister and my mom. But nowadays, as I'm getting busier with the Olympic training, I have lesser time to cook already. So actually today I have some free time, so yeah, we are cooking our favourite food.
It started all from sports school and the primary school, actually partnership to have Learn to Shoot program. During preparation for PSLE, that was P5, she was stressed for that 1 week. So I let her join this Learn to Shoot. Otherwise it's like study. That was her life. After first lesson, she came back, was like, Mommy, I'm very, very happy. That was the first time after her so-called depression for 1 week and first smile.
So this is a picture in 2012 when I was 13 years old here. And this is a picture now in 2021.
This is now.
Yeah.
Much prettier now.
At that point of time, I'm a sole breadwinner to the family. So to start off with shooting, I think the cost of the suit and the equipment is about $2,000. It's almost equivalent to 1 month of my salary. So whether we make a right choice or not is a question mark to us during that time.
After 1 year of training, she finally topped in her cohort. I'm actually very happy with that.
On the night Kyria qualified for the Olympic, we were watching the final bout from the YouTube. The last point was unbearable to watch. When she got the final touch, we were all ecstatic. My wife started crying, that kind of thing.
So these are some of the SEA Games medals from the 2019 SEA Games. This, I think, is the most special one because it's the one that signifies that I qualified for the Olympics.
She started fencing when she was 8 years old. Definitely, we never think that she's going to be going this far. When the child grows up, their interest and their taste will change. So we are prepared that she's going to stop fencing. But till now, she is as passionate as when she was 8 years old. We are proud she's coping and balancing her academic and training well. Wow, sacrifices.
So many. Too many to count.
Apart from dropping off and picking her up from her daily training, our whole family, we work our schedule around hers. We actually plan our holidays around her competition.
I am the first Singaporean to ever qualify in the equestrian event of dressage at the Olympic Games. When I started riding in Singapore, this wouldn't even have been remotely on the radar. So I started riding when I was about, I want to say 6 years old. It was actually a family sport at that point. I moved to the UK in 2012 to take up a law degree at the University of Bristol. I assumed that when I started work, that would take over and I would have to stop riding. 7 years later, I'm still horse riding.
This is one of my favorite photos. It's from the year 2010 when Singapore was the inaugural host of the Youth Olympic Games. Caroline, she was a competitor. In the Youth Olympic Games, she jumped. Jumping is actually her elder sister's event. So her elder sister, Catherine, coached the younger sister at this event. As a family, we're all quite horse crazy. We love horses. So she was immersed in the sport at a very young age. I'm very proud of this table because this is Southeast Asian Games when it was held in Singapore in 2015. I encouraged her to take up equestrian as a sport because I feel very deeply about sport. In fact, I would say that you learn more from your defeats than you do from your successes. She's very steady under pressure. She gets herself through. That's why I'm most proud of her.
Surveys have shown a majority of residents want the Games to be cancelled or postponed.
And she completes it in about 4.4 seconds. Very fast. Huh? So we're just reviewing some of the footage of some of the potential opponents that she has. It's hard to get away from all the stories about the Olympic Games, and I completely empathize with the Japanese people and their perhaps reluctance to host the games, fearing basically what might be another outbreak for them.
I felt a bit of anxiety when I read about the news. They don't want the Olympics to happen because I don't want the Japanese to think that, I'm bringing the virus across to them.
The main thing for me would just be to be as safe as possible, hand washing, sanitizer, mask on, and where possible, interact with fewer people.
We are subjecting our athletes to quite a lot of precautions before Tokyo and in Tokyo. Minimize going to crowded places. Get yourself vaccinated. Get yourself tested. We'll be tested 96 hours and 72 hours before departure. We'll be tested on arrival. And then at the Games Village, different contingents, different countries will not be interacting. We'll be eating in extremely small groups. There are a lot of precautions.
My flight details are a little bit up in the air, but it looks like I'll be taking a flight out around the 12th of July.
Because I'm traveling out from the United Kingdom instead of Singapore, there are additional COVID measures above and beyond the normal ones. I've got to self-isolate for 3 days before my flight here, and then do an additional 3 days on the Tokyo side, and obviously being tested every day.
Oh, I'm of course so worried about COVID and the pandemic. Sometimes I have sleepless nights about it. We're fortunate she's vaccinated. She's well aware of the dangers. We have to be prepared for everything.
I'm leaving for Tokyo in a few days. Okay, so I'm packing all these masks provided by Team Singapore. And all these disinfectants, hand sanitizers, everything. These are very important to bring to Tokyo with me. I'll be flying with some other athletes on the 18th of July, and once we reach Tokyo's airport, we'll be quarantined in one area for about 6 to 8 hours until our swab results come out negative.
With this COVID situation, of course, certain percent of worry point definitely we have, and we always remind her to keep a safe distance.
So I'm leaving for Tokyo in a few more days, and I'm packing my fencing bag now. So as you can see, I have one new blade here. I have a new blade because the old blade that I used for the qualifiers, it broke during training, and hopefully this is as lucky as the previous blade was. For this Olympics, because of the COVID restrictions, my parents were not allowed to travel over there and to watch me in action.
Well, naturally, I think we are disappointed, unable to be with her for such an important event. Definitely, I'm worried about the COVID-19, this pandemic. But I think with the vaccination and with good hygiene, she's going to be all right.
Of course, the Olympics is every athlete's pinnacle of the sporting career. I think my 12-year-old self would look and say, wow, within a decade you managed to achieve your goal.
I always told her, do not chase for the result blindly. Just enjoy the process. No matter what's the result, we all support her. Hashtag Adele, all the best.
To me, it seemed like a very far-fetched dream. You know, I was just in a small house in Singapore. We didn't really have a lot of funds that we could spend on fencing. It didn't really seem like a dream that I could achieve. What do you think I'll do?
I think the result may be secondary for us. But quietly, we are hoping that she can go quarter-final. Oh, not quietly already.
Yeah, not quietly anymore. Now I know.
Okay, bye-bye.